Hi, this is Randall Benagas, broker-owner with Averis Property Management. As part of this video series to help our owners understand a little bit more about us and finding out whether we're the right fit for them to manage their property, I'd like to talk a little bit about in this brief video the tenant placement process. It's one of the most complex processes in property management is finding the right tenant for your property. And we never take those things lightly. And I tell most of my owners it takes 25 to 30 hours of really good, solid work to find yourself a good tenant, and we do all those things for you. So what we do in the tenant placement process is obviously we market the property. There's a number of portals and websites to market those properties on. We have all of those covered for you, and we'll be getting plenty of phone calls if the house is priced in the right arena. So we've got to get the price, close enough to market price so we can get the phone calls coming in. Once we get the phone calls coming in, we have our dedicated showing agents showing the property to the applicants. If a renter's interested, they submit an application. My application is very clear, very brief. Takes tenant probably 5 to 10 minutes to fill it out, but the data that we collect in it is very powerful in us assessing whether or not they're going to be a qualified candidate. So our rental income verification, or our application requirements are, they've got to make 2.5 times the monthly rent, no evictions, no felonies. We look for a minimum credit score. If they're below that credit score, we request additional deposit, or we recommend that the owner, decline that tenant. I go into another video more detail on our employment verification and our rental history verification, because those are two really critical components of the tenant placement process. Once we look at their credit history, my credit and criminal background also pulls their criminal record. We can look for felonies. It pulls any public records like judgments. Have they been evicted? Have they been sued? Tax liens, statement. We're going to see pretty much everything on these individuals. And we'll be able to consult with you and discuss how you feel about those things. I'll obviously make my recommendation on what we think you should do. We also have to follow very strict policy. We are regulated by the Bureau of Real Estate, and that's another reason why owners love to work with us, is because we do follow policies, and we are consistent from one tenant to another on our screening policies, and that'll actually protect you as an owner. One thing I want to mention is if I can do a little tangent here, is as the owner of a rental property, you're going to want to make sure you align yourself with a property management company who is adhering to the standards that are, the state laws, and because renters have a lot of rights, and you don't ever want to have a renter come back attempting to either sue you as the owner and then come to find out your company wasn't following policies, because that could come back on you as an owner. So I always tell owners, I'm never willing to flex or bend when it comes to policy or fair housing practices, because you're hiring us to protect your interests in that property, and one of the ways we protect your interests is by making sure we follow the state guidelines and rules. But that's also a very critical element of tenant placement, is we can't discriminate based on a lot of different protected classes, and I can go over those with you when we talk, maybe over the phone. So by the time we're done with the tenant screening process, it's 25 to 30 hours have gone by, and if I am able to recommend somebody to you, you can have confidence that that tenant has been screened probably more thoroughly than any other company in the valley would screen that individual. A lot of tenants actually don't like me when they're going through the process, only because I'm really finding out a lot about them, and it's really not my job to make the tenants like me. It's my job to make sure I do our due diligence so that we can have your interests as a property owner protected, and make sure that when we give them the keys and they move into that property, we're not going to get surprised a month or two later because we didn't do our due diligence during that process. So the tenant placement process, very critical. If anybody tells you they can do it, in a matter of, half a day or something, I'd be very, leery of that individual. Most of the time it takes us 48 hours to do that because we're waiting on, verifications in writing to come back from the employer, from the rental, previous landlords. If there's anything we don't know about, we're still checking stuff. So it takes us at least 2 business days to do that. And we just hesitate if somebody says they can tell you, same day, or even less than that. So hopefully that helped you a little bit understand a little bit more about how Averis does their tenant selection process. We look forward to serving you. Hope that you can see the value in what we have, and be in touch with us soon. So thank you very much for your time and create a great day.